I know firsthand how critically important it is that we have a strategic and coherent plan for holding China accountable to its promises and effectively competing with its model of state-directed economics.
That was President Biden's pick for U.S. trade rep. Testifying before the Senate at her confirmation hearing, Katherine Tai has been described as a longtime critic of China. And now President Biden has said he will not immediately reverse the tariffs against China that, of course, were put in place by the Trump administration. So is he taking a page from the Trump book of diplomacy? Once again, let's talk about the future of U.S.-China relations with 2016 presidential candidate Governor Bobby Jindal. Great to see you, Governor. Thanks for being here. Like you, by the way, Katherine Tai comes from an immigrant family. She was born here, but her parents were from Taiwan, which, of course, is in many ways a sworn enemy of China. But she did spend some time working at a university in China. And she has had some hardcore things to say about China and about the threat from China. Do you think she's a good pick?
Well, David, thank you again for having me. Look, I think time will tell. I think the more important question is what posture President Biden's going to take regarding China. Too often in the past, he's been too willing to trust America's adversaries. You know, with Iran, it was we're going to just trust them about their nuclear intentions. With China, I think the Democrats for too long have been willing to trust the WHO and simply say, well, they've told us all they know about their origins of the coronavirus. So time's going to tell. Here's the thing. There are a lot of things Biden's going to do that I'm not going to like, whether it's more spending, more taxes. A lot of those policies can be reversed. How he deals with China really is not an existential threat, but truly a lasting consequence and a lasting threat to the United States.
Well,
so this is a really important area.
And the big elephant in the room, of course, is the Biden family connections with China, from his son, from his brother, et cetera. Will that in any way compromise his dealings with China?
Well, look, it's very worrisome. You're exactly right. His son, the private equity partnership he had, we never really got full clarity. If you remember during the election, the media, the big tech platforms wouldn't allow folks to investigate that. They shut down that conversation. They didn't want the voters to have access to that. We've never really gotten to the bottom of that. And this is, again, this is bigger than Hunter Biden. This is bigger than the U.S. Trade Representative. Look, the Chinese, what they're trying to do is they're trying to say their combination of state capitalism and political repression of minority rights, what they've done in Hong Kong, what they've done with the Uyghurs, what they're trying to do in Taiwan, they're trying to say to the world, this is a better model. We in the United States and our Western allies have to stand up to them and say, wait a minute, we're for real capitalism, not state capitalism. We're for real minority rights, not the repression of rights. This is the fundamental philosophical struggle of our time, just as our predecessors took on in the Cold War, the Soviet Union and the communist regime and the evil empire. Right. This is the ideological battle that we face today. We have
Joe Biden has a history of being saying some of the right things in his rhetoric, but when it comes to action, doing something very different. He said he was going to be a great uniter. Now he's pushing through a $2 trillion plan without any help from Republicans at all, and he's going ahead with all of his executive orders. So I wonder about that. I also wonder, it's not just the executive office, but it's Congress. You look at Eric Swalwell and his entanglement with this Chinese spy Fang Fang. We never got to the bottom of that, and I'm also wondering about that's Eric Swalwell when he was. We don't know the extent of his relationship. We're trying to find that out, by the way, from the FBI. And Swalwell is stonewalling, saying that he's not going to cooperate at all. How much longer can his stonewalling last?
David, you're right. Nancy Pelosi needs to answer questions. Why is he still in these sensitive committees? Why is he getting classified information without some kind of investigation, without some kind of assurance to the American people? But you're exactly right. The policies matter. Are we going to continue to provide arms to Taiwan? Are we going to stand up for the Uyghurs? Are we going to stand up for the folks in Hong Kong? Or are we going to stand up against the theft of American intellectual property? For too long, the globalists, these multinational corporations, and now, unfortunately, even some of the German leadership has advocated that we can just be nice to China, that if we continue to accommodate them, they'll eventually evolve towards our standards and our principles. That hasn't worked out. For the last several years, instead, they have stolen our intellectual property, they've stolen our jobs, they've engaged in unfair trade practices. One key test for the Biden administration, are they going to require schools to disclose the funding they get through these Confucius Institutes and their connections to the Chinese government?
Good question. And the Communist Party? That's a very good question. And finally, we don't have much time, but I got to mention the fact that dictator Xi is now saying that they have abolished poverty. We looked up their GDP per capita, that is how much everybody earns. It's $10,000 a year. And we consider that to be poverty. 12,000 is the cutoff level that we consider to be a poverty level. So I mean, you know, they come out with this stuff, this bull about all kinds of things, but they are a totalitarian country. They're doing very well economically, but the party leadership hoards the money rather than spreads middle-class economy. I just wonder, can that continue for long? Very quickly.
Well, it can continue when you control the media. He has even more control of the media than Biden has over the Washington press corps. But David, you're exactly right. They've redefined poverty to $1.69 per day. They've made great advances by stealing American intellectual property and jobs. We've got to put an end to that.
Bobby Jindal, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here, Governor. Appreciate it.
Thank you.